back to how to DeFi the system. Today, we're going to go into a little bit of an explanation of what crypto is and exploring the sentence, crypto is not only Bitcoin. Now, cryptocurrency started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin generated the revolution, but Bitcoin was built on the back of a lot of previous innovations and previous discoveries within technology, coding, mathematics, and the internet. Now, the basic reason why Bitcoin is so innovative is because they managed to solve a problem which for a while, for about 20 years since the dawn of the internet, had been unsolvable. And that was the double spend problem. Now, Bitcoin also came out of the 2008 crash, right? It was birthed from an unseeded trust in large institutions and banks and governments, which gave huge bailouts to banks. And this is all very simple and common knowledge, but it's helpful to understand the basis of why it was developed in the way that it was developed. So Satoshi Nakamoto had to find a way to create something that was completely trustless and could be utilized by any normal individual that had access to a computer and computing power. Now, with that being said, he created a method of storing information on a ledger, and a ledger being a record of transactions. So your bank account is a good idea of a ledger. However, in your bank account, what you're doing is you're trusting a third party. You're trusting the bank, which holds money, ideally would hold money. For every dollar that you deposit, they would hold that dollar. Now, this doesn't occur in the current banking industry, and something known as fractional reserve, which is where they lend that dollar out and they actually get an interest rating on that dollar. So they generally hold a lot less dollars than they say you have, right? And then they say that everybody has deposited and or been lent out. So this causes instability. This is what led to the 2008 crash. And Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to find a way to get around this. And the creation of Bitcoin solved the problem of the double spend error. And that problem meant that we couldn't have digital currency. We couldn't have some method of transacting digitally that was not managed by a trusted third party, like PayPal, like a bank, like any of these systems that we currently use. Now, the reason that this topic is crypto is not only Bitcoin is because there are many different types of revolutions within this technology that have come after Bitcoin. And that is to say that there are technologies like Ethereum, like Cardano, like Polkadot, like Litecoin, like Ripple, XRP, that have made adaptations or changes and evolved from the starting point that Bitcoin created as a cryptocurrency. And this is extremely important because a lot of people in mainstream media seem to think that Bitcoin is going to be the cryptocurrency. And that remains to be seen. Some say that it's going to be a store of value like gold. And again, that remains to be seen. It remains to be seen whether it's worth it to the human race to keep up the energy consumption that is required to facilitate the Bitcoin network. This is exactly why Ethereum is moving from a proof of work to a proof of stake consensus method. And the consensus method, the proof of work versus proof of stake, is what keeps the double spend problem from occurring. Because of the way that the system is set up, how the transactions are recorded and then validated in the ledger, which is a distributed ledger, which means everyone that is running a version of the ledger has the same ledger, and they all have to check that their ledgers are up to date. And that is what consensus is. If we are all up to date, if we all hold the same ledger, then we can all be sure that that no one is cheating the ledger and no one is double spending any money, right? And that's what we need. We needed a system, and this is what Bitcoin created and others evolved. We needed a system to ensure that that ledger could be held by many individuals who do not know each other, who may not trust each other, and that there wouldn't be a way for that ledger to be modified without the network knowing. And now that's what's known as a 51% attack, and that occurs mainly in proof of work. And that's when that happens is when 51% of the network power that would then be creating new transactions, new blocks on the Bitcoin network, and registering those transactions. If 51% is controlled by what is known as a bad actor, or someone who wants to manipulate the system, then they can start to write false transactions and basically approve payments and stuff like that, but not include those in their chain. And eventually, because of the mathematics that are involved, their chain, because they have 51% of the computing power, will be longer than the other chains, and that will be the dominant chain. But at the same time, they can include transactions in the side chains, not in what is known as a nephew chain, no, a cousin chain. And those transactions may be seen, purchases may be able to be made in the short term, but in the long term, the transaction won't be registered, and the Bitcoin won't actually be in the recipient's account. And now this has never occurred, and there's theories that this never will occur, because if someone had control of 51% of the mining power, they would have to be using ASICs, which are specifically designed controllers, and they would have had to invest in what is, hundreds of millions of dollars of hardware specifically designed to mine Bitcoin. And if they were to perform that attack, they would undermine the value of the entire system and thus make all the hardware that they had purchased irrelevant. And it would be hard for them to do anything but double spend the Bitcoin that they have. So they would have to double spend a lot of Bitcoin to make that entire endeavor worth it to them. So it's very unlikely. And now you can get a better idea of what is Bitcoin. Now, what is cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency are digital technologies that allow for creation of immutable currencies that are generally on distributed ledgers like Bitcoin is, but they may not have the same algorithm as Bitcoin, and they may not have the same use case as Bitcoin. Ethereum has a use case which allows for decentralized applications and software which is distributed to be run by the networks, by the node that is keeping up the Ethereum network, by the network of nodes that are keeping up the Ethereum network. So, for example, the computer which I'm recording this on is a node, is a miner on the Ethereum network. So I may be executing code for smart contracts from someone in Bolivia, or someone in Uganda, or someone in China. All I know is that I'm getting a portion of the transaction fee for as long as I leave my computer to run on the Ethereum network. So there is a incentivization mechanism for using distributed computational power globally within this network. And that is a new use case over Bitcoin. That's what makes Ethereum a valuable cryptocurrency. So there are many other use cases beyond that. Cardano is creating a multi-layered use case system, including smart contracts, including decentralized applications, also including a real form of governance and digital identification, which will allow companies and governments to run portions of their infrastructure in a secure fashion, right? And that goes as far as to say that there are many applications for cryptocurrency. VeChain is another one that focuses specifically on supply chain management, and the VeChain, VET cryptocurrency is used by companies that wish to use a decentralized and immutable ledger for their supply chain management. So that's just to go as far as to say that to limit the idea that crypto is Bitcoin, you know, and that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency of value would be folly, of course. And most of the market know that, and just the public is becoming aware of this now, and it's important to spread this information. So like, share, and comment if you found this valuable to you. You know, let's spread the DeFi system to all the reaches of the world. And I wish you guys a blessed day. Thank you.